Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I am bringing you guys a banger of a video. I'm going to be bringing you guys the top 5 best classes for Warzone right now in Season 4. And this is going to be for July 2021. So I'm going to be bringing you guys the most up-to-date meta classes, what most people are using, and some guns that you guys will have already had leveled up because the meta is constantly shifting. So I'm going to give you guys some reliable older weapons that you should already have leveled up that you can still use competitively at this point in Warzone to save you leveling up like 100 new guns a month. So we're going to get on with today's video. I'm going to share with you guys my best classes, and I'm going to give a couple of bonus guns in there as well, of things you compare them with. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure you drop a like down below, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you drop a subscribe. We're pushing for 2k subs, so it'd be great if you could help me out with that. And without further ado, let's jump into the classes here. Alright, so on screen you guys will be able to see one of the classes which I did a video on recently, calling it the best class in Rebirth Island, and I still think that is the case. This class is very, very good. One of the best SMGs in the game right now with one of the best ARs, makes this a deadly combo. And this is kind of like your short to mid-range build on the XM4 with a short to mid-range build on the Bison, meaning that you've got a ton of up-close damage because of the Bison's base stats, and a ton of like kind of longer short range to mid-range damage with the XM4, because again, with it being an AR hybrid SMG build on this and an AR by default, it's going to have that little bit extra range, but makes it really, really good. Now the attachments I'm running here on the Bullfrog, we've got the sound suppressor, task force barrel, target team spotlight, Spetsnaz grip, 65 round mag, fairly standard build for Cold War weapons. If you do want to go ahead and throw on the GRU suppressor, it gives it a little bit extra bullet velocity, means it's going to be a bit more like hit scan, whereas sound suppressor gives it a little bit less bullet velocity. It still gives you some, so it's an improvement, but it does give you a little bit more mobility, which is where I really enjoy this weapon, because it allows me to move around a lot more. But if you are wanting it to be a lot more of a hit scan weapon, throw on the GRU suppressor. It's going to give you a little bit of damage range extra as well, so that you're able to hit shots a little bit further away. Not really needed if you're pairing it with the XM4, but if you want to pair it with something else, maybe even a ghost class, then go ahead and throw on the GRU. The other thing you could do is take off the target team if you're not as bothered about movement speed and kind of stray speed. Throw on a stock instead. You're going to want the KGB skeletal, give you a bit of sprint to fire time and a bit more movement speed just in general there as well, but not quite the same amount as the target team, but it does give you that sprint to fire. So if you are finding that people are kind of bringing their weapons up faster than you are, try the stock out instead. And obviously 65 round mag's personal preference. You can take it off, it does give you a little bit more, but it already starts at around 50. So again, you could maybe throw on something like a rear grip, maybe the GRU elastic would be good. Flinch resistance and ADS time could be really, really good. So take your pick, kind of pick and choose with that one, but that is the build that I run for that gun there. Then pairing it with this XM4, which is the one I used on the video in the other day. Again, you can throw on the agency if you want a little bit extra range, and actually I would probably recommend throwing on the agency if you're going to run it in this setup like I am with the Bison there, because obviously it gives you a little bit more range, so you can hit those medium to long range kills with it. But then we're pairing it with the task force. Again, it's kind of like this thing now where they've changed the barrels, so you can have the task force or you can have the ranger. They give exactly the same bullet velocity, which is really nice. And with the ranger barrel, you're going to have a little bit faster ADS time, but the recoil control that you get from the task force barrel isn't given on the ranger barrel. So it's kind of like if you want more ADS, more snap ability, or if you want generally a more steady weapon, it's a little bit slower. Generally for me, with this setup that I'm using right now, it works as a little bit slower but a lot more accurate, because obviously I've got the Bison for up close, so this is going to be a mid-range engagement. It's not going to be who can pull the weapon first, it's going to be who hits more shots. So that works for me, but it's entirely up to you guys what you pick there. Obviously task force barrel length, so like I said, microflex LED, radar pad and 45 round mag. Again, you can go for the 60, but the 60 on the XM4 kind of affects the ADS time a lot, because it's a longer range short to medium range build. I kind of want the most ADS time possible, so going for 45 is more than enough, particularly on Rebirth, and as a really good sniper support option on Verdansk, so pick and choose there as you will. The next class I've got for you guys is actually the Swiss and the Mac 10. This is one of my favourite classes, particularly on Verdansk, but a lot more recently on Rebirth as well. It's been a ton of fun to snipe, and the Mac 10 is just ridiculously good. If you haven't been using it, I'm not sure what's going on, but get on with it. It is sick. It's really, really good. So you're definitely going to want to use this class. Swiss, we're going... Now, this is kind of outdated. I would actually recommend using the GRU suppressor now, simply because you are going to have that more bullet velocity, especially on Verdansk. However, for me, I prefer the cell moderator because I'm playing a lot more Rebirth at the moment. So for me, the mobility side of things is more important, hence why I'm keeping that one on. But if you are playing Verdansk, definitely hit the GRU up, because the bullet velocity changes are much better with the GRU suppressor now. So it's going to make a bit of a difference. It didn't before, it does now. Combat recon on the barrel then, because obviously you want that bullet velocity on there. Could go for the target team, but personally I think the combat recon just gives you a little bit less idle sway, but other than that, no negatives, which means you're going to be a lot more snappy and quick with this one. 5mm laser, again with the changes we had to that last season. better ADS time with it on, so you're definitely going to want to use that. We then got obviously the Serpent Wrap on there. It gives you the ADS time, best when you can run it on snipers for getting that ADS time up. And then I've gone and paired that with the fast mag, so that's just my personal preference because I like to reload quickly. But you can go ahead and throw on a stock. You could have, you know, maybe the Raider stock or the SAS Combat, or you could even go for maybe something like the Bruiser Grip, which is going to give you movement speed and maybe stability, so you've got a bit more movement ability there with the sniper. Pairing this then with the Mac 10, we've got obviously the Gallantry one, looks pretty nice. Sound suppressor on there, again, you can go ahead and throw the agency on if you want that bullet velocity, but for me, again, like playing Rebirth and playing Verdansk in general, I like the movement, especially when this is going to be paired with a sniper, so for me, I'll stick with the sound suppressor, personal preference. Task Force barrel on there, again, they haven't changed them on the SMGs like they have with the ARs and stuff, so it's still going to be the same relative thing. Most bullet velocity, most effective damage range, and strafe speed on there. Targeting Spotlight again for the movement. Striker Grip on there is really, really good because it gives movement speed and hip fire accuracy, which is perfect for an SMG build. Stanag 53 round drum, not the fast mags because the fast mags affects the ADS time a lot more. My standard build there, really fun to use and shreds through people. It's kind of like a cheat code, honestly. It's really, really fun. So go ahead and use that one. This is kind of my broken class right now. It's the Bison, which I showed you guys at the start, so I won't go over that one again. Go ahead and flick back to that if you have just come to this point. Watch the first loadout for the Bison or Bullfrog setup there. But then we've got the Samurai's Creed Krig 6. This is going to be the Agency Suppressor. Again, with the mil spec, it's up to you. If you want the recoil control stick with the mil spec, it's very, very good on the Krig, so I would recommend it. But if you prefer to have a snappier ADS, go with just the Ranger, same bullet velocity, okay? Then when we go into the optic, we want in the axial arms 3 times. It's going to be the long, mid to long range variant of this weapon. Field Agent Grip and Stanag 60 round. Again, you can afford to have the Stanag 60 round affecting the ADS time because we're not going for a snappy build. Again, pairing it with something like the quick build Bison there, it's going to be a lot better to have the Krig 6 as that steady long range option and not much recoil but a slower ADS, and have the Bison for up close, or sorry, the Bullfrog for up close to be able to get those snappy kills. So that's what I would pair there. Now I've also got a Groza and MP5 class for you guys. I wouldn't necessarily pair these two together, but for the purposes of this video, I just wanted to show you guys both of these weapons, so I have put them on the same class. They're essentially both very, very good, but do fulfill a very similar role as that SMG style, despite the fact the Groza is kind of like an AR. It's more of like the XM4, where it fits into that SMG AR hybrid category. Excellent weapon, really good TTK, low recoil. MP5 is just broken, probably the best SMG in my opinion, bar maybe the Bullfrog and Cold Bore. MP5 are kind of like the best two for me. PPSH also really good, but I think these two just take it on mobility and things. Groza build here, you're going to want the suppressor, the regular suppressor, you're going to want the VDV reinforced barrel, or indeed, of course, the Task Force, depends on your personal preference and playstyle there. I prefer the VDV. CQB pad on the back there for sprint to fire time. You can throw on the radar pad, if you have it unlocked, I would probably recommend that because it's going to be a little bit better for movement and things. Bruiser Grip on there, just to give it that little bit of SMG style, so the hip fire accuracy and the movement speed, and then the 60 round drum obviously to finish it off there, gives you the ammo capacity without affecting the ADS time too much, which is really nice. And then obviously the MP5. Now a lot of people will be looking at this one and wondering how you get the optics, you know, the kind of like half crosshair optics where you've got half it cut off and it's a lot cleaner. You're going to want to use a blueprint. You can go ahead and use any blueprint. I'm pretty sure all of them work, but the ones I know for definite that do work, if you go into your armory, Roman Opulence, Pit Viper and First Mate all work as the half reticle on the MP5, which is what a lot of people are looking for. So go ahead and throw on a variant. Can be anyone, a free one, a paid one. Those three 100% work, and if you've done the battle pass this season or last season, you will have at least a couple of those variants. And then the attachments you want are as follows. Sound suppressor, you don't want a barrel because that means you keep that iron sight, which is really nice with this weapon. It's what's made it a lot more popular. Targeting spotlight, Raider stock, Bruiser Grip, and this Stanag 50 round drum. Again, a little bit of ADS reduction from the drum, but other than that, it's very snappy build, so you can afford to have it. Bruiser Grip gives us hip fire and movement speed, targeting for the movement speed, Raider stock for the strafe ability, and the sound suppressor on there. Again, you can throw in the agency if you do want to. Gives it a little bit of extra bullet velocity and effective damage range, gives it the most bullet velocity you can have on the weapon, so if people prefer that, it might be a slightly faster feeling TTK, or you can go for the sound suppressor, which is a lot quicker up close. Entirely up to you what you want to run there, but I'm going to go ahead and throw on the agency suppressor there, so it's up to you guys. Just pick and choose how you will with those ones, and again, build it to your preference and playstyle. And then the final one here, the video would be amiss without mentioning the FARA. The FARA is probably one of the better guns. This and the Krig are probably the best two ARs right now. Groza and XM4 as hybrid ones, probably MP5, LC10, MAC-10 as your SMG styles. So tried to include most of these in this video. I'm going to go over the FARA here. Groza suppressor, Spetsnaz RPK barrel, SUSAT multi-zoom scope, although I prefer to actually have the Axle on. It just depends if you want lower visual recall. KGB skeletal stock there, and the Spetsnaz 60 round mag. You can actually go ahead and take off the stock on this one if you do want a little bit less sprint fire, that kind of thing. If it's going to be a long range option, it can be really nice actually to have the Spetsnaz grip on. That just does give you that little bit of extra recoil control, which makes this gun an absolute laser beam. So it's up to you kind of if you want to play around with it. Some people have kind of gone with the notion at the moment that you don't need the underbarrel because it's actually good enough without, but obviously after the recoil update maybe you feel you need it more. So it's up to you. Pick between either having an underbarrel, so the Spetsnaz grip there, or having the KGB skeletal stock on there. It's entirely up to you what you want to run, but just play around again with your playstyle. And then the LC10 class I'm running with this is Agency Suppressor, Task Force Barrel, Raider Stock, Stanag 55 and Airborne Elastic Wrap. Very, very quick. Again, you can take off the Airborne Elastic Wrap if you do want to, and throw on the Field Agent Grip if you want a bit of recoil control. Entirely up to you how you want to run it. Again, it goes off your playstyle, kind of how you're going to actually be using the weapon, and, you know, kind of how snappy you are, how kind of much you rush buildings, all that good stuff. So just pick and choose the attachments you want, but I'm giving you guys a general overview of like the best setups, and then you can tailor them towards your own opinions there. So hopefully you guys have found this video useful. I've tried to incorporate all of like the new meta guns, or the best guns in the current kind of open meta that we've got going on, whilst also keeping a few of the more core weapons that we've used before involved in the video, so that you don't have to level up a ton of new weapons when you do actually watch this and think, oh my gosh, there's like so many new things going on. There's still a trusty few old favorites like the LC10, like the Krig. Some of these we've seen before, you know, kind of MAC-10, one we've seen before, and then we've got things like the FARA, we've got things like the XM4 making more of an appearance, but you can level those up alongside the ones that we've already got done. So try to do it a little bit balanced for you guys there. Hopefully you guys have found it useful. If you have, make sure you leave a like on the video down below, and make sure you do subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support there. Let me know in the comments which one of these classes is your favourite, or which weapon is your favourite currently in Warzone, whether you play Verdansk or Rebirth Island. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching. Take care and peace.